Hey kings and queens, thank you so much for stopping by on this channel. I am a bit frustrated actually, let me just be really transparent, because I thought I was recording and then I turned the camera around and I hadn't pressed record. So I have been speaking for the last like 10 minutes and it hasn't been recording. So I am a bit frustrated, but I'm going to try and still do this video and just forget about the 10 minutes that have just gone by wasted. I wanted to have a chit chat with you today because just to reflect on life and the things that I have been learning over these past 32 days, because it has been actually a month since my wedding. I've been married for just over a month, so yeah, happy anniversary to me. I know literally like being married for a month is nothing on the grand scheme of things, but already I have been learning and growing and learning things about myself that I thought would be helpful to share on my channel, since my channel is all about adulting and growing up and life learnings, etc. So grab yourself a cup of tea and a notebook potentially, and yeah, I'll just share with you what has been going through my mind. So in terms of how married life has been so far, it has been really good. I'm really grateful that it has been a positive experience so far. In all realness, it doesn't really feel that different to pre-marriage. I think it's because my partner and I, or my husband and I should I say, we definitely did spend a lot of time together prior to our wedding. So we kind of know each other, I guess, very intimately. We knew each other very intimately even prior to the wedding, and it just feels, being married just feels like a continuation of that experience, to be honest. So, which is a good thing. I'm grateful to God that it doesn't feel like it's a massive shock to the system or something that I have to train myself to get used to. Because sometimes when things are like a really big difference, that can be a source of stress for us. But honestly, like, things just feel so natural. We've just like eased into our new routines. And it's just been, I guess, in a very simple word, it's been bliss, which I'm so grateful for, because I know not every marriage is, I guess, blissful in the beginning. Sometimes because it's a matter of getting used to a new partner, being in your space, being in your life. Sometimes, you know, even though a lot of people have like the honeymoon period, sometimes marriage can be pretty difficult in the first year or so, but for us, in the first 30 days, it has gone really well, and I'm really grateful for that. And I guess one thing is we haven't actually gone on our honeymoon yet because of the pandemic, because of lockdowns, etc. So yeah, we literally got married on a Saturday and then went back to work on the Monday. Like, we've had no like break or honeymoon or time together after our wedding, which in hindsight I do regret. I don't regret us not having a honeymoon, because it's just simply impossible, but I do wish that I did have some time off, some time away from work without having to get married and then go straight back to work 2 days after. But you know, it's too late to go and change things. I guess if I can just give you a tip, don't get married and then go back to work the next day or the following day, because you're going to be exhausted. We also moved house. We bought a house the same week of our wedding, and it was just too much for us. So if I can give you any words of advice, try and space things out and don't put too much on your plate all at once, because you're going to find yourself really stressed and exhausted if you're anything like me. So that's one learning that I have. But I have also been learning and growing spiritually as a woman, as a human being, over these past 31, 32 days, and what I've come to realise, I've been doing a bit of journaling, which is always great for self-reflection, self-evaluation, etc. But what I have been realising is that I now have a desire to know and to seek God more, which is quite weird because prior to getting married, I guess if you were to put a label on my spiritual journey, I was very much in the New Age movement. I was, I guess, very much in like Mother Nature and, you know, yoga, and I wasn't using crystals anymore, or like, I wasn't really into cards and stuff anymore, although I did dabble in that in the past. But I guess you can definitely describe my spiritual journey before my wedding as New Age, because I definitely wasn't praying to God. I wasn't attending church. I wasn't reading my Bible. I was really focused on, I guess, myself and what I wanted to create in my life, and, you know, feeling supported by nature and offering gratitude and blessings to Mother Nature, etc. And my heart, my focus wasn't on trying to know God more at all, just being really transparent. But since getting married, so we got married in a church, so essentially we had a Christian wedding ceremony, and I guess during that, not even during, but even when we had our wedding rehearsal, I just started thinking, like, why are we getting married in a church if I wouldn't even call myself a Christian? I felt a bit of a conflict there, like, why am I doing this if I don't feel like I resonate with this faith? And like during the ceremony, because there was so much prayer involved and like blessing over our marriage and asking for God's support, etc., I just realised that I really do want God to support us through this marriage and to be our foundation, and I want to be able to pray to God confidently whenever we experience difficulties, you know, whenever we need that kind of spiritual support. I want to be able to pray with the confidence that He would hear from us, like He'd be willing to hear our prayer and answer our prayer, or, you know, give us His Holy Spirit, make us feel supported. And you don't have that level of confidence in God when you're dabbling in New Age spirituality. You feel, because you kind of know that you are, I guess, slowly walking away from the faith. You can't come to God with boldness whenever you want to pray to Him about something. So I want that boldness, and to feel very comfortable coming to God with requests, or, you know, extending my gratitude for things. And I just realised that I want to create and to have a Christian marriage. So getting married has definitely made me reevaluate my spiritual journey and where I want to go going forward. And I want to rediscover Christ, essentially. I want to learn who Christ is, because I feel like, although I've been, I guess, a Christian for most of my life, I don't feel like I've ever truly known who God is. I definitely don't feel like I've ever, like, loved God. I've always feel like I've been a Christian to avoid, I guess, kind of like to avoid going to hell, which may sound really weird, but I know a lot of you may resonate in terms of the reason why you choose to follow God is because you don't want to go to hell. And although, yes, that is one of the benefits of knowing God, of knowing Christ, it shouldn't be the only or the main reason why we decide to believe in God. I really do want to, I feel like I really want to discover God and know him for myself and fall in love with God. And I feel like the easiest way to do that is to return to my beginnings and kind of like spend time in his word, praying, seeking him and asking him to reveal himself to me and spending time with him. And you just can't really do that without experiencing, I guess, that conflict in your heart whilst you're at the same time exploring or dabbling in New Age beliefs, if that makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is that since getting married, I've just learnt that my focus and my foundation, if I want to have a Christian marriage, it needs to be on Christ. And because of that, I've decided to, I guess, step away from a lot of the New Age practices and beliefs that I was doing and holding, and to use that time to, I guess, try and discover God for who he is, and yeah, just learn more about him. I honestly don't know what this journey may look like, because I can't even lie and say that, I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot that I need to learn and discover, because I do have many questions about things that are taught in Christianity. I do believe there's a difference between Christianity and having a faith or a relationship with God. Like Christianity is like the man-made structure of religion, and then faith or having a relationship with God is something that is very personal to you, that you carve, that you create. Yeah, so each person's walk or relationship with God will by default look different. We all can't have the same relationship with God because it's an individual experience. It's not going to be completely dictated by the church or by, I don't know, organised religion, if that makes sense. So there are a lot of questions that I do have that I do want to explore answers to during this faith walk, that perhaps, I guess, traditional Christians may not spend their time looking into, or may not feel are like time-worthy questions, such as, you know, I don't believe in Christianity God is referred to as a he, and as the Father, that's how he chose to describe himself in the Bible, I guess. And I want to do some study of the ancient texts or languages that the Bible was originally written in, to understand the gender of the words that were, I guess, originally used, that God used to describe himself. I know like sometimes the meaning of words get lost or changed slightly when they're translated again and again, and I want to be able to learn, how does God describe who God is, you know. I know that God is neither male nor female, so he isn't a man, isn't a woman. He's kind of like, well, I feel like he's kind of both at the same time, and being both at the same time isn't something that we as human beings can fully understand and grasp. Our minds are not that expansive to fully understand the nature of God, but I do want to understand a bit more both the masculine and the feminine aspects of God, because I feel like that's something that a lot of us who, I guess, were or are in the New Age spirituality are seeking, that we struggle with. The fact that Christianity or organised religion tends to describe God as a male being and only male. A lot of us, because, you know, nature shows that there's always duality, there's always male and, well, not always actually, there are some organisms that are just, I think they're both genders, and there are some human beings that are both genders upon birth. So I guess not always is there duality in nature actually, but I think nature is a good example that a being can be both male and female at the same time, and I believe that's what God is, but you don't hear of that being spoken about or taught about in church or in organised Christianity. So it's probably something that I need to study or explore for myself. So there's that. There's the I guess I feel very drawn to nature, as a lot of you know, and the power of nature. So I want to spend time learning about that and how that fits into my Christian walk. I know, because I don't really feel like a lot of emphasis is placed on the importance of nature in modern day Christianity, but the Bible itself does talk a lot about nature. I don't want to really go over it now because I may go off on a tangent, but yeah, there is so much talk about nature and how nature itself worships God in the Bible, and it just places a lot of, there are passages in the Bible that place or that show of the importance of spending time in nature to experience the awesomeness of God. So I want to spend time learning or like reading those scriptures, discovering those scriptures, because I do really feel really peaceful and nourished and edified when I do spend time in nature, or when I like drink natural herbal teas, when I kind of like live a more plant-based lifestyle, etc. But again, it's not something that the church talks about or that places that much importance on. So it's essentially, there are a few things that I potentially, because our relationship with God is very individual, that I will probably place a lot more importance on in my journey, in my Christian walk, than perhaps other Christians place in their journey. And I think that's actually okay. That's a learning within itself. The fact that our walk, our Christian walk, is not, and it shouldn't actually be the same as our sisters or our friends or our aunts, whatever it is. It should look different because God speaks to each of us differently, but we do need to know that there's a difference between the creator and the created. You know, nature is not God. Nature reflects the awesomeness of God, but it isn't God itself. And there probably are some other topics that I can't even bring to mind right at this moment, but I think I'll probably, as I have been doing in the past, I hope to share the learnings, the things that I'm thinking about and questioning and learning on this life journey, on this spiritual journey on my channel, because this is what my intentional adulting channel is about, to share what I'm learning and thinking about with you. But yeah, those are the things that I've been thinking about, I guess, in the first like 31, 32 days of married life. The fact that I do feel like I need to return, not that I need, but I feel called to return to Christianity. I don't like using labels. That's one of the things that bugs me. So I feel called to return to seeking God or seeking the creator rather than seeking the created, if that makes sense. And because of that, it's just changing the way or the vision that I had for my marriage that I initially had. I do envision that our marriage will be a Christian marriage, and I keep saying that because it's a phrase that my dad kept on using in our preparation to getting married, and it's just kind of like stuck in my head. So yeah, I want to create a marriage that glorifies God, that has a relationship with God, etc. And I feel like we should allow ourselves to evolve as spiritual beings. Like a lot of us, especially those of us who are in the New Age spirituality, we say that, oh, we have an open mind, we're open-minded, you know, but we're not really open-minded if as soon as we hear about God, as soon as we hear about Jesus, we're like, no, I don't want to hear about that, or like, that is not for me, or I do not resonate. Like, part of being open-minded is being open to hearing about God and about Christ. And oftentimes, there are things that we did not know and that we do not know, that we can discover if we are open-minded to, I guess, beliefs that we thought we had completely done away with. So don't know if this is making sense. As I said, I don't have any notes for this video. I'm just like trying to articulate my thoughts and trying to get them to make sense as I'm speaking. But yeah, in essence, the first 30 days of marriage has been great. It's been a blessing, but I think marriage also makes you not question life, but it makes you think about the path of where you want your life to go and how you may get there. It definitely makes you reflect about life a lot, and whether you're happy, and what can make you happier. Because again, I haven't mentioned this in this video, but I knew from the get-go that getting married will not, we will still experience things like anxiety, depression, loneliness, even in marriage. Like, being married does not solve mental health struggles, does not mean that we'll never feel lonely again, will not solve addictions. It's not a cure for things that existed prior to getting married. So I know that, despite getting married, there's still a lot of work that we all need to do in our lives, because a lot of people feel like once you get married, your life is set out on a silver platter for you and everything is perfect, and it's just definitely not that. So those are my thoughts. Those are my mustn'ts, if that's what the correct term is. Let me know your thoughts, especially if any of this has resonated or made sense to you. If you've been having the same or similar or very different self-reflections in your prep for marriage, or your first few months of marriage, let me know. And I think I will continue to do these videos, especially because not many people talk about life after getting married. There's a lot of videos about being in your singleness and praying for and preparing for marriage, but there isn't much after you get married in terms of, okay, like, how do I sustain a good and fulfilling life after marriage, and how do I get through, there are videos about when things go wrong in marriage and how to potentially deal with those things. But when you're walking through the middle of that stuff and it's just kind of feeling like, okay, this is my everyday routine, there's not much guidance or reflections on when people are just married and living day to day, and how to navigate that kind of normalness of marriage and life. So let me know if you've got any reflections, learnings, insights that you want to share. Leave a comment below. Yeah, I'll definitely keep on reflecting and journaling and questioning and being open and reading and everything else, and hopefully we can all just learn on this life journey together. That's what this channel is for. So thank you so much for your presence, for your time, for for being around for this discussion. I definitely will see you soon in my next video. So like this video if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed the chit chat. Leave a comment below if you've got any insights or words that you want to share, that you want to add to this discussion. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss my next video, and I will definitely see you soon in the next one. So yeah, take care and God bless.